Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? That's what I need. I need people to let me know what's happening. So you should be able to hear me now. Let me see. Oh boy. 1 2 1 2. As I was saying, last week I was having technical difficulties, and a lot of people hung around. Some people sent me text messages asking me, was I gonna still do the podcast? So for whatever reason, I don't know if it was me or whether it was Facebook, but for whatever reason, the podcast was only being broadcast to only me. It wasn't being broadcast publicly. So what I'm going to do, probably next week, I'm going to expand this. I guess I'll go back and I'll open up my YouTube channel so I'll reach more people. Those people that hung around last week, those people that came back, I really appreciate your support. Those people that's telling other people about what's going on, I'm just speechless. I started doing this because I felt like there was so much going on that I had to speak on it. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? So my daughter pulled my coattail and we came up with the name of the podcast. I got something to say, so it must be true. This is my 11th podcast, believe it or not. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the holidays and cyber crimes. Unfortunately, during the holiday period, a lot of people are lying and decking the halls, and other people being opportunistic and looking for ways that they can take advantage of other people. Like I said last night, I wind up watching Ellen, and my punk behind wind up crying. I had something in my eye or whatever. But it really touched me because Ellen shows this amazing humanity that blew me away, with so much hate going on in the world, and for her to spread things around so evenly, and she just tries to help as many people as she can. So I don't usually watch a show, but I figured I'd send her a shout out. Not that she needs it, but it really touched me. So tonight we're talking about the holidays and cyber crimes. Basically, cyber crimes are any ways crimes that thieves come into our lives and invade us to steal our identity, our money, or information that they can use for personal gain or monetary gain. There are 5 basic ways or things that I'm going to talk about. There's a list of things. Back in 2012, Uncle Sam had some extra money, and they called me and asked me if I wanted to go back to school. And I said, I've got enough paper on the wall that says, well, we'll pay you $2,000 a month. I said, okay, good. What would you like me to study? So I wind up going back. They said, do something with computers. So because I had this public policy degree, I said, okay, I'll just do something in cybersecurity under the administrative side. So I started getting into some of this, and that was around the time that Edward Snowden was going through his thing and disseminating all these WikiLeaks, 775,000 documents. And the thing that blew me away is what kind of supervisor allows someone to come in on their day off with a flash drive or a thumb drive and just download information. That was crazy. So I felt like the heads really should have rolled. But I'm just kind of digressing. We're going to focus on 5 ways that thieves target us. It could be by snail mail, where they send something to the house. It could be through social media, and that's probably one of the most common things today because everybody has some type of social media account, whether it's online dating or whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter or whatever. It could be through robocalls where there's a computer with a talk box that automatically calls numbers in succession, and eventually your number comes up. And if you answer the call, what it does is it sends a signal to someone, and they'll follow up and they'll try to get some information from you. They may tell you you won this, that, or the other, to try to find out who's behind this number. And once they it's like fishing. That's why they call it fishing. Once they get a nibble, then they're going to throw you a little bit more bait and try to get you to hang on long enough where they could get something that they could use. There's another thing that's going on now where they use kind of the same technology, but instead of calling phone numbers, it calls the IP address or the MAC address of your everything from your cell phone to your computer and your network, the gateway it's called. Another way that they do things, if you ever see this flashing on your computer, says, you have this, you have that, you have this, you have that, that's called ransomware. 9 out of 10 times, if you respond to it, they can remotely shut down your computer and then charge you to get your information and turn your computer back on. And the last thing is fake emails. So number 1 is snail mail. Number 2 is social media. Number 3 is robocalls by phone. Number 4 is robodials by IP and MAC addresses. Number 5 would be ransomware, where they basically send you a message and then take over your computer remotely. And number 6 is fake emails. So, snail mail. What should you do if you receive a letter? If you're curious about a call, a letter, or email, first of all, know this. Social Security will never call you. So if you receive a call, hang up immediately. And most recently, they start spoofing cable companies where they're calling and saying this is Charter, this is Cox, this is DirecTV or whatever, and we're about to shut off your account. And you go to giving them your account information and banking information. Next thing you know, they're draining money from your account. So you shouldn't respond. Anytime you receive a call or an email, the thing to do is just ignore it. And if you're curious, call the company back. But don't call using the number that they gave you. Another thing to do when we're looking at these emails, you don't respond to the emails by hitting reply, and don't use the email that's listed. A lot of times you'll see it's close to the real thing, but the final part of the address may be altered, so it's going someplace else. What you should do, don't click on it, just delete the email and contact the company by phone. If your computer, like I said, starts flashing, saying you have a virus or you won money or you're the 1 million customer, shut down the computer, wait for about 5 minutes, and then turn the computer back on. This kind of reboots it and it clears what's called a cache, that temporary memory. So it should clear it out of that. If you have a long-term problem, I would say take it to someplace like Best Buy and let the Geek Squad deal with it. But if you respond to the email, then you open the door to the ransomware and it can take over your computer. One of my neighbors here, she responded and she wound up talking to some lady. She said a lady was so nice, they only charged her $300 to take the stuff off her computers. I say, think of it as being like a pyromaniac, someone who starts a fire and puts the fire out for to be a hero. It's kind of that same mentality, but they know exactly how to clear this off the computer because they're the one who put it there. There are several ways that the online thieves and cyber thieves can target us. They can send us stuff in the mail. They can give us what I call good-natured chain letters that appear to our love for each other. They can send good-natured chain letters that appeal to your spirituality or love of God. On social media, they have this new thing where they create fun events and these little funny things to brighten up your day. And I'll kind of elaborate on it as we go along. They also can send us fake emails from well-known companies. Then, like I said before, they robocall, pretending to be the Social Security Administration, the cable companies, or a utility company, or what have you. When you receive these snail mail or these letters in the mail and something about it doesn't look right, the best thing to do is contact the number that you have for that company. Don't respond to the people who's sending you the mail, because all you're going to wind up doing is giving them your information. It could be in the form of credit offers. It could be in a form of you just won X amount of dollars. Thing I always says, be honest with yourself. If you know you have credit challenges, chances are you're not going to be approved. So even if it is legit, say if it's coming from Capital One or Discover Card or what have you, even if it is coming from some of these companies, you know you have credit challenges. Even if you do apply, every time you're not approved, every time you're denied, it only lowers your credit score further. So they're not in a habit of really helping people out. So I just tell people to be cautious. They say, well, I knew it was coming from credit, what's the name, Capital One. I'm like, yeah, but what's in your wallet is not enough to pay for a car fare to go down the street. So chances are they're not going to give you that $2,000 bonus, that they were talking about or whatever. Chain letters, this is probably my biggest pet peeve. If you got these chain letters that appeal to our good nature, the good in us, it may say something like, send this to 10 brothers who you know are real men. Or it might say, send this to 15 sisters that you know are living their life like it's golden. Send this to 20 people and watch your wealth increase tenfold. Of all of these tricks, I think the most diabolical is using a sick or dying child's image for malicious intent. When you send these emails to your friends and family, you not only spread these worm and Trojan viruses to your own computer, but it also sends it to all of your friends and family, all of their contacts, and suddenly everybody starts getting these hacked Facebook accounts and all of this crazy mail and what have you. So if you send me chain letters, I'm not going to forward it. I'm just not. And if it becomes a repetitive thing, then I'm probably going to talk to you. If you send me a video and I'm not used to getting anything from you, I would tell you to do what I do. If you get something from someone who doesn't normally send you that type of information, a video or a picture or what have you, just go ahead and delete it. Once you open it, then you've opened your back door to your computer. Once you open your back door to the computer, then you've opened the back door to all of your information. Even if they are setting up GoFundMe pages for these little sick children or dying children or poor people, what have you, 9 out of 10 times is some opportunistic cyber thief. Money that's generated or funds generated never reaches that family or that child. So the person that's creating these emails and what have you, they're doing it for personal gain. Rarely are they doing it to help anybody out other than themselves. The other kind of chain letters is what I call the God chain letters. If you love God, send this to 20 people. If you're not afraid to show your love for God, post this. If you believe Jesus wore sandals, then post this. It sounds funny, but in a ridiculous way, they play on people's fear. If you know what your relationship is with God, if you profess to being a Christian or you profess to knowing God, no one should be able to shame you or use reverse psychology to get you to forward chain letters, plain and simple. By doing so, as I said before, you can spread a worm virus, a Trojan horse virus, not only to your computer, but to your friends, your contacts, and your other friends and family. Once their network is, or their gateway is contaminated with that virus, then it spreads ridiculously fast, and they can go through some of the same things, and ultimately they're compromised, you're compromised, and it just becomes cyber, what I call epidemic, a pandemic. So I say that when sending chain letters, consider the 11th commandment to be, thou should not use God's name in a chain letter on social media. Let me say that one more time. When sending a chain letter, consider the 11th commandment to be, thou shalt not use God's name in a chain letter on social media. Another thing that they do on social media is these amusement games. You know, what will you look like in 20 years? One of the latest ones is the aging, what you look like in 2009 versus 2019, 10-year challenge, I think they were calling it, something like this. This information can be used for anything from filling in background information to developing facial recognition algorithms. And once your image is out there, you understand? And some people say, well, you know, I already send stuff here, there, and everywhere. And that's why I don't have an Instagram account. Because when you read the fine print or you accept Instagram, the first thing it tells you is every picture that you post becomes their property. So it no longer belongs to you, even though you're the author of that picture. So I'm sure that there are 1,000 pictures, and I know what people say. You post more selfies probably than most people do. I do so for a specific reason. And that reason is that if I'm feeling bad that day, it makes me feel good. But I'm very selective about what kind of stuff that I post. That's why I don't post a lot of pictures of my grandkids, because I don't want there to be an ongoing record of everything that happens with them from what I call from cradle to grave. So be careful. You know, we don't know what this information is going to be used for. The other thing that I heard about here recently is the 23andMe and some of these DNA swabs and samples that we're sending in. Once that stuff is put into this data bank, who knows what's going to happen to it? So I'm leery of that. The other one that they have is these social media games that I call feeding the ego. You know, they appear to be well-meaning and playful games, but they're really sophisticated algorithms to extract information about your habits, how you think, you know, what you eat, where you live, so forth and so on. You look like Lena Horne. What celebrity do you look like? Why even play these games? You know that 9 out of 10 times it has nothing to do with you. I see some of these people responding to it, say they look like Lena Horne and they look more like Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman was very attractive when she was young. And I'm talking about the Grandma Moses one. How hot are you? Okay, so, really? Okay. That's subjective. And a big one for the holidays is the Santa Claus naughty and nice. You know who you are, and you know whether you're naughty or nice. Nobody needs to. Or I tell you what, send it to me with $5, and I'll tell you how naughty or nice you are. But seriously, this information can be used for anything from deciphering your voting habits for redistricting and the census to developing artificial intelligence models based on specific demographics. Um, for example, educational and socioeconomic backgrounds, whether you live, a group of people that live in a particular community, and so forth and so on. So when you playing these well-meaning games that make you smile on a good day or a bad day, be suspicious. Ask yourself, and usually at the end of the game, it has nothing to do with you. So if you really want to have some fun, put all kind of bullshit information in there. Yeah, I said it, bullshit information. Like put in you were born in the year 1920 and that your eyes are purple and you understand and you eat peanut butter for breakfast. You don't have to just necessarily give information about yourself to have a good time. Be careful what you tell people about yourself because you don't know how that information is going to be used. That takes us into what I call the next segment, data mining. With data mining, what they call social engineering, they gather information that they can use to answer security questions about you. It can be used to start up accounts in your name. It also gives the thieves useful information that they can use to steal your identity. They may ask you things like who was your favorite teacher, or who was your best friend in grammar school, what street you lived on in third grade, what's your mother or grandmother's maiden name. So why is that necessary if you're going to tell me whether or not I'm going to marry, what's her name? Janet Jackson or Angela Bassett? That's BS. So be careful of it. I know you want to have a good time, but if you really want to have a good time, put in erroneous information and see how it comes back. When I was growing up, anytime they would give me an IQ test, I would see the same questions being repeated. I would always answer the questions differently because I'm like, if I told you the first time and you didn't hear me, then why are you asking me a second time? So I figured out at an early age how this nonsense was working. So I didn't want to be put in a box, so to speak. So I answered every time I encountered the same question, I answered it differently. Robocalls. One of the big things is I'm sitting down talking to some of the vets, and the vet said, man, I got a call from the IRS this morning, and, I was trying to call these people back. I said, man, look, there's this thing called spoofing. And what they do is they pray. First of all, they're going to call everybody. And if they call 10,000 people and only get 200 responses, they've had a good day. They prey on old people. They prey on people that are not tech savvy. They tell you that your benefits are going to be suspended or cut off. They tell you that all of these crazy things. But what's so crazy about it, the guy says, man, but it was the Social Security number. I said, that's what's called mirroring. When they spoof a number, what they do is they mirror the number. So when you look at your phone, you'll see one number, but you're actually talking to another number. So you're not talking to the Social Security office, but you're actually talking to the cyber thieves. Then they frighten you into telling them that your information. Once they get the information, then they can do what they want to do. It may tell you if they're calling and they say they're the IRS, then everybody just kind of, their pants, right? Dookie. Anyway, they tell you that you owe money and that the IRS is about to seize this and take that and do this and do that. IRS isn't going to call you. Social Security isn't going to call you. If you have a problem, if you suspect something, hang up the phone immediately and call the number that you have. That's the best thing, because then you know you're speaking to the actual person at this government agency. Usually, if you are in any type of trouble, they're going to send you a letter in the mail and you can respond to said letter, but they're not going to call you over the phone and certainly are not going to ask you for any information. The worst thing is if they call you and they tell you the IRS, they are the IRS. Don't let them scare you into paying any money. Sending this on a secured, go out and buy this bank card or this prepaid card and then send the information to this number. No, the IRS would never do anything like that. So just be leery of that. One of the things that motivated this talk was I received something in the mail, and I'm going to try to show this to you and share this with you. This was the email that I got right here, and what got me was, notice it just has a question mark right there, then it says Chase. So me being tech savvy enough, I opened the email, and the email says this. It says Chase. That's all it says. So there's so many things that's wrong with that email. First of all, it says Chase, not Chase Bank. Usually Chase Bank is going to say like Chase Bank NA or something to that effect. Then it has this benign greeting, hello. Okay, so there's no addressee. If you are speaking directly to me, then you should have my name and contact number. You're sending an email to me. Then they said, because of the recent activity, they contacted me for this $50 cash bonus or whatever. Funny part is, first of all, I don't have a relationship with Chase Bank. Second of all, what recent activity? Then you look down and you start seeing all of these little areas. Don't press any buttons. Don't click on any links. Because once you do, you open up your computer to all of their little cyber tricks. They can plan what I call a backdoor worm, and they can do everything from steal your information to your keystrokes. And it's constantly going in the background. And they could turn your computer on remotely, even when you have your computer or phone turned off. So be very careful of that. So I wanted to kind of show you that. That's one of the new things with the internet and what have you. I did put this on my newsfeed earlier, so you can go back and you can look at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the updated one that I did all of these little telltale signs on, things that should be. So anyway, in closing, I just want to tell you, cyber crimes, the other thing that you saw in there was a government agency. So I try to keep up with some of the stuff that's going on. I didn't want to include a whole lot of statistics because this is exciting enough all by itself, and I hope some people haven't fallen asleep. But the reason I talk about it is because this is such a huge problem that there's not an exact number. Cyber crimes are being followed by the Department of Homeland Security, and the numbers that they have with 3 government agencies, even before 45, so we can't blame it on him as much as I like to. I'm sure it's gotten worse, but they don't have an exact number on what this is. All they have are guesstimations. So we have an estimation of anywhere from 13 million in the IT governance magazine in the U.S. to over 6 trillion globally. So we have to understand that America is no longer the richest country. Lord have mercy. But one thing that they have been tracking is the increase of number of crimes that's been reported. And what they've seen in the last couple of years is a 11% increase in malware, and that's any type of software that's downloaded on your computer remotely to extract information or what have you. So there's a 11% increase there. There's a 13% increase on web-based attacks, and that's kind of far-reaching, but that's anything that attacks not just the public in general, but all of this, everything from infrastructures like water companies and things of that nature to cyber crimes that affect you and me. And like I say, my neighbor who she told me, she says, I had more problems with my computer. And the lady called me back and said that they got a signal in their office that I was having problems with my computer. I said, how much did they charge you this time? She said, oh, this time is only $200. So I say, in the last, 5 months, they've gotten $500 out of you. I said, it's time to, change your whole network. Call Spectrum and get another gateway, dump that computer and start all over again. I said, because $500, you could have bought a new computer for what you're using it for. That goes into the other thing, 10% in denial of service. Once they get hold of your computer, they can shut it down and deny you service until you pay it off. So denial of service, they have extrapolated differently from ransomware. They said there's a 21% increase between 2017 and 2018, a 21% increase in ransomware and a 15% increase in malicious insider. So social engineering and so forth and so on. I'm going to put this on my page so you guys can kind of look at this if you'd like to. So in closing, all I want you to know is this is something that's far-reaching. When we talk about numbers, whether it's 13 million or 6 trillion, it means nothing to you and I until it affects us personally. Until you pick up your phone one day and you try to go to you try to put your card in the reader at the grocery store and find out that your bank account has been drained, or like the guy said on TV, I think it's I can't think of the company now, and I really didn't want to give them a shout out because this is not about promoting any particular company. He said they filed for taxes under his name, and I know somebody that happened to as well. They filed for taxes, got his tax return, and I'm saying, well, it looks like somebody should be online or somewhere. There should be a picture or something. But by the time they find out about it, this person has taken off the wig that they were wearing, changed their appearance, so forth and so on. So it's a very sophisticated scheme. These are the holidays, folks. I wish everybody Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. I wish you well. I talk about this because I would hate to see anybody, friend or family, become a victim to any type of cyber crime, losing their money or having their identity stolen. I had my identity stolen back in 1999, I believe. So, and it took me years to get it squared away. You know, some of the things I fussed and fussed and fussed, and I just had to wait to 7 years for it to fall off my credit report. To add insult to injury, whoever stole my identity, their damn credit score was higher than mine. So I made jokes. I said, can I just keep their credit score and you take that debt that doesn't, it don't work like that. So I know this has been a lot of information. I say it only because I want you guys to know what we are up against, especially during the holidays. Right now, with Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all of these things, I have Amazon addiction that you wouldn't believe. I've got so much stuff, and I'm just tallying up how much I spent through Amazon this year. But I'm a little bit more tech savvy. Not saying I can't still be a victim, because anybody can. And with that, I'm going to tell you this. I wish you the best. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, whether this is your first week or the 11th week. Anytime you show me enough love to tune in and spend some time with me, it means the world to me. Again, to those people that missed me last week, I apologize. I had some technical difficulties. Again, I don't know whether it was me or Facebook, but the broadcast wasn't going out to the public, so I had to keep starting up. And then I figured out what the problem was, and there were still people hanging around at 8 o'clock that wanted to hear what I had to say. So it made me feel good. It made me feel like what I intended to do, I'm accomplishing that task. So mission accomplished. This is my 11th podcast. As always, important. Wish you love, peace, hair grease. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. I got something to say, so it must be true. Good night. What's up, Douglas? I'm gonna give a little shout out to a few people that's here. What's up, Price? Long timer, bruh. Trenton, what's going on? Okay. Vivacious Valerie. Making the Marine Corps looking good. One woman at a time. Thaddeus, another Marine and musician buddy of mine. Beverly, hey, baby. Kathy, girl, I appreciate you coming in early and letting me know what's going on. Susan, how you doing? To all of those people and the people that I didn't see up here, to the people that's going to catch it a little later. And why all of a sudden I became all fuzzy? Okay, that's it. That's better. All right. Talking about cyber crimes and what have you. Good night. You guys be good. And that's the way it is. Bye.